You guys know what time it is? It's time to turn our opponent's Digimon into poop.
Okay, so for the first matchup, we're playing against Kentaurosmon right here, and we're going to be going second. Just checking our hand as per usual when it comes to Mulligan. It looks pretty good to keep. We have a good line of play. We can potentially Digivolve. We have Izzy that we can play as well. Especially going second, we have a lot of memory to work with, which is going to be really nice here. Of course, catching our egg, Digivolve, and Chumon, and then now we even got into a Pride memory boost. We can play the Izzy first, and then potentially gain the memory back. And now because we know exactly what we have in our hand, we can set up very nicely with Pride memory boost and really, managing the memory efficiently on the memory gauge, passing the opponent back to 3 since they have TK anyways, is really, again, really good value and really good sort of like resource management right there. They go into Geogreymon trying to search for the security to find something. They do find a Richard Sampson right here. And I particularly like this Sukamon that we have currently on the board just because when it ever gets deleted, we can play a Chumon. And being able to play Chumons keeps our board afloat. We can make more swings. Right here, we're contemplating what to do next, but it only makes sense to chip away with their security, hitting into a long K right off the bat, which is totally fine. And that's usually what I would prefer, seeing in the early stage of the game rather than the later stage of the game, just because when we later stage of the game, we might have a stack and we want to keep it on board instead. And then we get to play the Chumon right here via the Sukamon effect. And this is where we can actually reduce our Digivolution cost, get into our Sukamon, and play a bit more efficiency when it comes to memory again. Now we're contemplating whether if I want to go into a King Sukamon and try to turn it into a Sukamon, but we don't have enough Sukamons in trash. We're still missing one. So we do end up just going for Etemon right here. And we did luckily draw into a KingEtemon, which probably just makes most sense to get into afterwards. So then we can just like set up our board and passing to the perfect memory back to them. But here we're just contemplating if there's a second play that we want to go for anyways, but we do have to trash with Etemon's effect anyways to, minus DP to them and minus security +1 as well, minus security 1 on them, and then we'll go for the KingEtemon to pass turn. Right here, we're looking really good. We have, a strong body on the board. KingEtemon's established as well. And we're just going to continue to mainly just chip away. It only makes sense to continue to swing with the Chumon just because with Kentaurosmon, they are playing like a yellow hybrid base. There isn't too much memory gaining effects as for now. And with so many DP reduction effects that they can actually potentially get into, our Chumon can run into a lot of issues, and therefore just chipping away is better. Right here, because we have the 4 memory to work with, playing King Sukamon right here is just very nice because we can then turn their Geogreymon into Poo Poo, and they can no longer Digivolve up for the next turn, buying ourselves some time, because a very good combo play is for them to Digivolve into Rise Greymon, play a Tamer, and establish more control just like that. Now they're just really trying to look for pieces, and they're trying to Digivolve and cycle as much as they can. Going into Jet Sylphie to recover 1 is great, so they're trying to, stay in the game with some of the recovering effects. But with King Sukamon, again, we can sort of slow them down, just in case if they do have a Rise Grey. But they do pass us back to 3, playing a Taikari. Now we draw into a Metal Etemon, which is a really good play, potentially to get into. Of course, swing with Chumon first once again. We're not too worried about the memory gaining issues. Going into Metal Etemon, and this is why I really like this card. It's just so good. You're gonna hit very often with it, as you guys can see. We even were able to just bring out 2 bodies of Sukamon right there, and we immediately gain those protection effects now. So there's nothing too much to worry about. Making sure that we have the protection, we can just swing in constantly, even with a Metal Etemon. Running into a Kentaurosmon insecurity is fine because we can use the Inheritable to delete our own Sukamon and keep it protected and afloat on the board, basically. KingEtemon also reduces the DP, or reduces the DP of Jet Sylphimon into by 3000, and then we go into follow up with a King Sukamon play, turning into a Sukamon. Because the DP reduction is still live during that turn, then the whole Jet Sylphie becomes deleted because of that. And right here again, we're just not letting them get into their level 6. Keep in mind, the other thing I'm really just sort of keeping check at all times is trying to make sure that they are not at the sweet number 6 security. We don't want them to have it, because when they do have it, they can potentially warp, and that's where the big combo plays come in. And the Kentaurosmon deck can be really explosive, especially when it comes alongside with the yellow hybrid sort of package that they run. They can go for Kentauros, swing lots of checks, and then potentially, go hybrids for games 1 at a time. But they are trying to, slow it down again, continue to recover as much as they can with Salamon right there and Kudamon bottom decking their Kentaurosmon to go back at security. Here they're thinking of playing Odin's Breath, but we realize they probably won't get the full value off of it because we have more than 6 security. So they just decide to pass right here, which is kind of unfortunate on their end. But again, we go into second metal Etemon. Now we can play another Etemon or a bunch of Sukamons. Sukamons would be more ideal just so we can have the protection, but we do go into this Etemon. This one has a bit of floating, has blocker itself, so we're just going to continue to attack as much as we can. Running into Kentaurosmon again this time, but unfortunately no Sukamon to delete on our end. But again, with KingEtemon coming in, we can, you know, minus DP to something and, you know, take something out as well at the same time, taking out the Kentauromon essentially. Right now we're just debating. We really just want to give them at 3 memory no matter what, realizing that you know, maybe playing Garurumon just draw more, but I kind of want to have the King Sukamon again because we can go into it potentially to again turn them into a Sukamon, so then they can't really go for their stack. So we just hard play this Chumon right here, but we pass on the on play effect to grab something back because we don't necessarily need it per se, and we're just laying them and sort of see how they do. You know, right now the board situation looks really great. Again, keeping in check that their security is more than 6, again, because we don't want them to combo off. And so we can build up a wide board and then go for a big play. But they do end up playing Blinding Ray anyways, which caught us off guard. And it's kind of unfortunate. This is why having the Chumon on the board would have been a little bit better. But they do play Odin's Breath right here, taking out a Chumon, minus security 1 across the entire board right here. So, you know, again, they're also buying themselves as much time as they can until they want to go for an explosive combo play too, to get into the Kentaurosmon. So we're sitting right here as well, just trying to wait for them to finish their turn, and they just decide to long K our stack just because I think KingEtemon is pretty strong when it comes to control. It gives everybody blocker as well at the same time. But with 7 memory, that's a lot to work with for us, so we can be quite confident on what we can do. We have options to play here. We can go into KingEtemon. We can use Etemon to swing, but the whole thing is I didn't really want to use Etemon to swing just because we've seen enough KingEtemons and Metal Etemons already. Cycling them have a lower chance, but like you guys can see here, again with King Sukamon, we want to basically turn that into poo-poo, so then they can't digivolve into level 5 and they cannot go into Kentaur's play. We're just really shutting them off right here and continuing to just pressure, build the board, and then wait for the next turn to make multiple attacks because, you know, with that they can't really do too much. But they do get into a Zephyr right here, trying to cycle through more, going into their hybrids. Again, there's not a whole lot they could really do for now, it seems like. But again, back to back with Odin's Breath, taking out Chumon once again. Everything gets security -1. Technically, there was a bit of misplay. We both didn't realize that it shouldn't happen just because there's actually 7 security here because of long K from earlier. So Odin's Breath wouldn't have an effect, but we just played it here. It doesn't really matter too much. In the end, we get to fancy out a little bit more with our Etemon and Sukamon combos right here. We even get the opportunity to showcase them that they can potentially get into a Kentaurus now because of the combos here as well. They try to get into it, but they do realize they can't again just because there's actually not 6 or fewer security. So they kind of have to take that play back there, which is totally fine. You know, we're just experimenting and trying things out anyways and learning. Yeah, so right here, Kentaurosmon is just really trying to contemplate on what their best play is to continue. And just to stall out the game a bit more, I guess they, again, go for Kentaurus, go into Kentauromon, and then they can recover 1 by tucking the Kentaurus back to the bottom of the deck from their trash. They have a wide board as well. They can't really swing into us because, again, we have really strong blockers on the board. So they can only really effectively just play Tikikari and finish it off. So right here, you know, it just makes sense. We have enough swings right here. We're just thinking what the best sequence is. No protection on the Metal Etemon, but that's totally fine. We're going to swing with Etemon right here, and then we're just going to finish the game with KingEtemon here. Okay, so for our second match, we're actually be playing against Jesmon right here. Again, we're going to be going second and just checking our hand. For mulligans, it looks pretty good for the most part as well. We have enough plays to, you know, climb up a stack and digivolve, play Sukamon, or even go with a Pride Memory Boost, which is really, really good, as you guys can normally see from last game anyways. And especially we're going second, so we have a bit more memory to work with too. So when it comes to Jesmon matchup, it's really just about how Jesmon's searching, and they're just searching, trying to build a stack. But for our end, we're really just trying to have a similar game plan, try to push and swing as much as we can. Pride Memory Boost, being able to play the Chumon, in particular that can reduce Digivolution cost, is what I really like personally, because I'd rather play it via an effect for free. Sometimes hard play it for 3 cost, and then sometimes you would want to digivolve it for 1 to really manipulate the memory gauge. But now we got a really good play coming up right here to decide based on what we have on our hand. We can actually remove this Huckmon, and that's what we want to do actually, because we're going to digivolve the Sukamon and then potentially pop the Pride memory boost, find ourselves the Etemon right here, and then we can basically pitch something away and minus DP to it, and basically just getting rid of it right there and passing them back to 1 again, and all they could do is just pass it back to us at 1. Now right here, contemplating moving up the Chumon, but this time a little bit different compared to the Kentaurosmon matchup in terms of wanting to swing as early as possible, because Jesmon relies on a lot of DP gaining effects, and they can pop up really crazily when they do so, and you want to stop them, and Chumon is actually your best answer against that, to prevent them from gaining all that memory and making those explosive plays. So this again really slows them down. All they can really do is do more searching with Master from Disciple. Even if they gather all their pieces, they're gonna need a lot more resources set up before they can actually go at us really strongly. But also just to mention, as you guys saw, we did go into Metal Etemon, being able to play 2 Sukamons, a Platinum Suka and a normal Suka, is also just really good value right here. And we're just gonna swing in with Metal Etemon right away without thinking too much. Unfortunately, ran into red memory boost, but that's okay, because as long as we're keeping our Chumon alive on the board, then we're totally fine. Follow up with Izzy, knowing that we mainly play black cards in our deck anyways, we choked our opponent back to 1. Even with all the memory boosts that they have, even with all the from Master Disciples, Jesmon's gonna have a little bit much harder time to go pop off of their combos with by paying fewer memory. And right here, they're just contemplating. They do move up and they do want to go for the big play. They do pop 2 of the Master Disciples right here. Plays a CL, using Bao Huckmon's effect first to digivolve into a Savior Huckmon now. Savior Huckmon, when digivolving effect and activates. Right here, we just realized that it's actually just more memory efficient to save on the Master Disciple, because they're going to digivolve for free anyways into the Savior Huck. So Savior Huck then resolves first because it's the newest to trigger, to let them play your Systemon. Systemon Blanc gets played. Systemon Blanc will give everyone a blocker and draw 1 on play. Then they get to finally resolve it with the Xiao by paying 3 memory to go into Jesmon. Now, for that entire process, they don't gain any memory because of my Chumon right there. But they do need to clear out and pop our board right there. With Jesmon being able to pop basically everything except for Metal Etemon there. And we're just going to use Platinum Sukamon to de-digivolve them, and then we're going to use Sukamon to try to search, which I believe we whiffed right there, and then use Pagumon to also do the top card right here. They did clear our board, so they did, loosen up the pressure a little bit, but they give us quite a lot of memory to work with 6 memory right here. We have a second Chumon up ready to go, but again, we're just going to keep it on the board just because the same reason. They're not choosing to block right here. They're letting us chip them away. It seems like they want to keep their Systemons to probably have defense or maybe additional swings later on. But again, we're just going to hard play, set up a board, utilizing the Chumon this time from BT11 to hard play and then digivolve for 1 cost in the Platinum Sukamon to, again, give them very little memory. With the combination of Jesmon not having much memory tamers and heavily rely on gaining memory, and then us having Chumon, it's just a really hard matchup for them at this current stage. Right now, again, we're sitting really nicely. We have a lot of good board. We're potentially going to go with Cooties Kick right here on a Sukamon, swing and potentially try to gain more memory, which we do, and they don't block because they're trying to sort of risk for it. Also do want to mention, we completely forgot that I had an Izzy, so I should have started my memory at 3, but that's totally okay because we're about to going for the game-winning play anyways. Go into King Sukamon, turn the Savior Huckmon into Poo-Poo, and then because it's a Poo-Poo now, all the Systemons don't have blocker anymore, so we just swing right there.
And there you have it. That's how you turn your opponent's Digimon into poop. And don't forget to flush the toilet while you're doing so. So if you haven't checked out the deck profile yet, be sure to watch it right here. If you've already done so, then check out all the other videos and content on the channel right here. We got lots of Digimon content, videos, guides, gameplay, and everything for you guys. Everything for whatever your favorite Digimon would be. You can definitely go check it out. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video. This is about signing out.